Okay, hello everyone. We're back here in the Piper Tomahawk at Darrington 1S2 in Washington. So this is one of the Orbx sceneries. We'll be flying between two of them, Darrington back to Skagit Regional KBVS, doing a pure VFR flight. So we will have one nav aid. Don't expect to use it entirely going up visual landmarks. One of the nice things when you've got pretty good scenery is that you can do VFR flights based off landmarks and not have to rely on GPS and the other tools that you usually use. The Tomahawk, as you know, is pretty old school, the model from Just Flight. So it doesn't have a GPS, no autopilot, only has one nav radio, which is hooked up to the VOR. So that's it. So it's really designed for VFR flying. Fuel pump on, fuel pressure, fuel pump off, magnetos to both. Have a look around, clear prop, and ignition. There we go. Transponder standby, squawking VFR, 1200. I've got my comms all set up, so CTAF here for Darrington is 1229. Where we're going is Skagit. I'll get that set up in air. I've already got the weather, but we'll listen to it again. So we are on 128.65.
Painfield, Snohomish County Information, Quebec. 2100 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable, visibility 9. Sky clear, temperature 5, dew point 4. Altimeter 3015. Arriving run.
Okay, winds light and variable, altimeter 3015. I've already got that dialed in. My nav is set up for Penco VOR, so that's nav 1, which is 117.2, and I'll get LBS set up for 6.8. And we won't really need this, but it happens to be flying almost exactly along the line, the radial along the line that we'll be traveling following the river. The plan is to take off from 2.8, follow the Stillaguamish River west until we get a visual on Lake Kavanaugh, which will be to the northwest. We'll overfly the lake, continue along that heading, and we should get Big Lake in sight. It's kind of a big, long finger-like lake. We'll follow that until we get Skagit River into sight, and once we cross over Skagit River, we should have Skagit Regional in sight. So a bunch of milestones. I do have the Penco VOR into my nav 1, so if somehow I get lost doing that, I can always just go to the OBS, dial it, find out what radial I'm on, and that should give me a bearing and get me back on track. I don't have, normally I stream live ATC in the background. I've got it off today. I find that the nearest airport that has live ATC is Seattle, and it's too much. It's like non-stop talking. So we'll have a nice quiet flight today just with me and the sound of the airplane. Darrington traffic, November 359 Golf Charlie, taxi runway 28, Darrington. Today I'm going to try to stick to some of my some of the published rates for the Tomahawk. So we're going to rotate at 53 knots, try to climb at 70 knots. Once we get up to cruise altitude, I'm going to try to maintain 90 knots, and then when we come back down, I'm going to try to go by the book for RPMs and descent rates. So we'll see how that goes. Just going to do a quick run-up. I'm going to start by going up to 1800 RPM. Mag left. Mag right. Looks good. Use neutral. Fuel pressure is in the green. Oil pressure is in the green. Oil temp is in the green. Amps look good. Carb heat on. RPM drop. Carb heat off. Looks okay. Idle. Everything's in the green. Fuel pump on. Landing light on, strobes on, pitot on. I keep wanting to go to that view. Sorry. It's good. And the last thing we want is transponder to alt. Darrington traffic, November 359er Golf Charlie, departing runway 28, straight out departure, climbing 4,500 Darrington. Now, I do actually have to look for traffic here because we've got well traffic on, so it is entirely possible that an airplane might come streaking down and land on the runway. Okay, so we're gonna rotate at 58. And rotate. Now when I try to climb at 70, my climb rate is actually a little crazy on the Tomahawk. Alright, so to decrease it, I either have to decrease the throttle here, really pitch the nose up, and then I get this crazy climb rate, which I don't like climbing it over 1,000. So I'm climbing at 80, and that puts me at 900. Okay, we're above 1,000. We'll get the fuel pump off, landing light off. So if you've seen some of my other videos, I'm flying over Orbx TrueEarth Washington. Highly recommend it. The scenery looks terrific. This is the SD version. I had the HD, and it was a little too much for my 2016 MacBook Pro to play on, so I could fly in it, but I'd get less than 19 FPS. Many areas, so that was too low, and going to SD helped out. It does mean if you're used to your own ortho photos will probably look better just from a ground texture standpoint, but you know, what really makes this is A, it's all color corrected for the orthos, and B, it's what they put on top of it, so it's all the trees and the general look of it. You know, it doesn't have the Legoland look of regular X-Plane Autogen. Alright, we're at 3,000. Making for 4,500. Going west. East is odd, west is even. The VFR altitudes. Plus 500. Start leveling. So remember, no autopilot on the Tomahawk. You gotta fly by hand, and if you wanna have level flight, you gotta trim it out. So while I'm flying straight for a while, I've been kicking around the idea of whether I should get the Western expansion subscription to Pilot Edge. I do like to fly in Pilot Edge, which is Southern California. Not quite sure. It's not so much about just buying the extra subscription, it's whether or not I'll get anything out of it. I like to fly VFR, and I especially like mixing untowered and towered airports. The Western expansion, because it's so big, really is very selective in which airports are covered. So unlike the California autopilot edge, which covers just about every towered airport, almost. This one is a few in each area, so a few in Washington, and a few is like Seattle, Plainfield, Olympia, Whitbay, which is a Class Charlie, which is near here, which has Anacostas, Anacortes, is not covered. So yeah, if you're flying like between these two VFR airports, there's also almost nobody that is usually online for the Western expansion. Maybe there'll be one or two pilots, and they're usually flying 747s. So you're not going to hear much comm chatter. You're not going to see anybody else. You're not going to interact with ATC unless you're getting flight following. And even if you go to the Pilot Edge map and turn on their drones to see where they're at, which is kind of like their version of world traffic. There's like none in this pass here. They're clustered around Seattle and kind of the big airport, so you're not even going to see traffic. You can get flight following, and you can have the brief interaction of requesting flight following and giving you a squawk code, but they're probably not going to tell you to look for traffic because there is no other traffic out here. So it's a bit of a downside. Maybe if more people start using it, that'll change. Or if I like flying out of Seattle and the Bravos, then it would be worth it for me. And I think if you fly IFR, yeah, it's definitely worth it. You'll have like your own personal controller pretty much to give you your clearances and give you your vectors. So IFR's probably great, but for VFR flying, I don't know. It kind of depends if you're going to be flying into Seattle, Olympia, or Payne. And if you're not, I'm not sure that there's a lot to get out of it. I'd rather just run well traffic to get some traffic and listen to live ATC. So I could just keep going left and eventually I will come out of the mountains here. And then I would head north. But there it is. There's a bit of a low spot here in the mountains where Kavanaugh Lake is, and it's a shortcut, right? So got it just off my nose here. I've turned so I can see it. Got it in sight. If I follow that, it'll line me up pretty well at Big Lake, and that should take me to having the Skagit River in sight. When I started X-Plane, it's kind of like everybody, I was just trying to learn about planes and aviation, and most people kind of start the same way and start with the airplane on the runway and take off straight out and then fly straight into their destination runway, use autopilot for a good portion of it. And then later on, especially when I was ready to move to Pilot Edge, you needed to learn about traffic patterns and the right way to fly VFR to an untitled airport. And along the way, you also learn about VFR flying, and looking at your gauges and your GPS is not really the way to go. So it's nice to be able to set up VFR flights where you don't have a GPS and you are just navigating based off what you see, and relying on your flight planning and your sense of direction get you to where you need to go. Now for this area, it's easy. You really can't get lost. I mean, even if I kept flying due west, eventually I'd come to the ocean and I'd have to either turn north or turn south, and that would still get me to Skagit Regional. So really don't need nav aids. The Tomahawk just has the one nav radio. I wish it had an ADF. So if you look at where my call sign is on the front here, and 359 Golf Charlie, there's a blank plate. That would be the spot for the ADF. Skagit does have a non-directional beacon, which I could tune an ADF into, and it would take me right to the airport. But this plane does not have it. The Archer does, which I like to fly. No worries though. Everything is in the green over here, so we're looking good. Fuel's looking good. So I mentioned I'm on the MacBook Pro. Recently I've been trying to make this work, and I haven't gotten any recordings that are successful, but I installed Boot Camp, and I'm running Windows on my MacBook. Got X-Plane installed on the Windows side as well, and X-Plane Windows works with eGPUs. X-Plane Mac does not. It works, like it won't crash, but it will give you less than half of the frames per second that you have without the GPU, so it's no good. But on the Windows side, it actually adds well, for me, it adds about 20 FPS running with the eGPU. Unfortunately, it's glitchy, and it'll run out of memory, X-Plane will crash, it'll lock up, especially if I use any recording software. So I tried to run it on Windows before this flight, and after getting really frustrated and wasting about an hour, I just moved over to the Mac side. I'd love to get it to record though, because I can run at full screen resolution, I can run with anti-aliasing, I'm getting maybe 28 frames per second on that side, so it looks a lot better. Alright, so we are very slowly, and I mean very slowly, because our cruise speed is 90 knots, coming out of the mountains here. We passed over Lake Kavanaugh. I don't have a visual on Big Lake, it's up ahead, but I know that coming out of Kavanaugh, I want to be flying heading 277. So I'm going to adjust to that. That should take me right to Big Lake. If you haven't flown just flights Tomahawk, it's a blast to fly. Love the big gauges, nice simple layout. And if you like flying Cessnas because they're clean, they're well organized for the layout, and easy to use, then I think you'll like the Tomahawk. If you like to turn on the autopilot to reduce your workload during some long parts of the flight, then you won't like the Tomahawk, right? There's no autopilot, so gotta hand fly it. I don't have the GPS turned on to the right side there, so just right of the audio stack. There's a spot for a GPS, and it is one of the options. So Just Flight has a menu that you can put in the default X-Plane GNS 430. Sometimes I use it, it depends on what I'm doing, but for this flight I intentionally did not want GPS, I just wanted to go entirely VFR. There it is. So I got Big Lake just off my nose. Haze does make it a little hard to see. So if you go to the exterior view, you can see the blue, almost S-shaped splotch up ahead. That's Big Lake. And we've got a little bit to go, but we should see the Skagit River up ahead. Once we do that, the airport will be just off to our northwest. So while we're here, time to get the weather. Go over to
Skagit Regional weather. Wind light and variable, visibility 10. Sky clear, temperature 6, dew point 4. Altimeter 3017.
Alright, wind's light. So from a wind standpoint, we have our pick of a runway. Okay, so realistically we'd listen on CTAF, see which runway was being used by any traffic in the area. Didn't hear anything, then we'd overfly the airport and have a look. But if none of that is giving me an indication, then I'm going to pick the runway I want, which is runway 28. Sorry, wrong airport. Which is runway 11. And there it is, Skagit River, just off to the left. So time to make our CTAF call. We are calling Skagit Regional. Skagit Regional traffic, November 359 Golf Charlie, 10 miles southeast at 4,600. Entering left downwind, runway 11, Skagit. Time to start descending. Alright, so going by the numbers, my descent should be at 1,800 RPM. To be at 80 knots. So right now we're going a little too fast. Alright, gonna follow the highway here. Got the field in sight. Skagit Regional, November 259 Golf Charlie. Entering left downwind, runway 11, full stop, Skagit. A little bit close to the field. Alright, so powering, we want to get down to 70 and land at 67. Skagit Regional, November 359 Golf Charlie, left base, runway 11, full stop, Skagit. Skagit Regional, November 359 Golf Charlie, final. Runway 11, full stop, Skagit. Ooh, we're a bit short on the final. Turn short on our base. Go around, clean up the trim. Climb back up to pattern. Skagit Regional, November 359 Golf Charlie, going around, runway 11, Skagit. It lined up nicely for the turn, but just turned too early. Okay, clean up the flaps. Strobes. Transponder to standby. Skagit traffic, November 259 Golf Charlie, clear runway 11, Skagit. All right, thanks for watching.